right, let's go ahead and start our math lesson for February the 16th. Today we're going to continue learning about fractions. We have been comparing fractions so far. So today we're going to talk about what happens if one fraction is not greater than or less than the other fraction. So today we're going to start by looking at our success criteria, and we're going to pay close attention to what it is that we are learning today. All right, here we go. This should work.
Our learning target today is to recognize and generate simple equivalent fractions and explain why the fractions are equivalent. So far, we have been using our vocabulary to compare fractions. We've been using the symbols like greater than and less than. Today, we're really going to focus on equivalent fractions.
All right, next we're going to jump to slide number 2 as we focus on using the equal symbol to compare fractions. Our first job today is to watch the Brain Pop Junior, and then we're going to take notes on slide number 2 together. So first, let's just focus on Brain Pop Junior, and then we'll pull up our task together, and we will make sure that everybody can find their task so we can take some notes together.
Equivalent.
All right, we're starting with our Brain Pop Junior video. We're going to show listening with our eyes, our ears, and our brain, thinking about how fractions can be equal or equivalent.
This sandwich has 4 equal parts. You took 2/4 of the sandwich. That's the same as 1/2. Equivalent fractions are equal to the same amount, but use different numbers. What are some fractions that are equal to 1/2? Becca and Tasha are sharing a sandwich, and each gets half. Their sandwich has 6 equal parts. So each person gets 3 out of 6 parts, or 3/6 of the sandwich. You can draw pictures to help you see how fractions are equivalent. Mike and Brian are sharing a pizza. Their pizza has 8 equal slices. So each person gets 4 out of 8 slices, or 4/8 of the pizza. 4/8 is equal to 1/2. Maybe. On this rectangle, 5 out of 10 equal parts are blue. If you look at the rectangle a slightly different way, you can tell that half is blue. So 5/10 is also equal to 1/2. What are some fractions that are equal to 1/4? 2 out of 8 parts of this quilt are yellow. That means 2/8 of the quilt is yellow. If you look at the quilt a little differently, you can see that 1/4 is yellow. So 2/8 is equal to 1/4. What fraction of the tiles is green? 3 out of the 12 tiles are green. or 3/12. You can also see that 1/4 of the tiles are green. So 3/12 is equal to 1/4. What are some fractions that are equal to 1/3? It's time for dessert. This cake has 6 equal slices. 2 slices have candles. So 2/6 of the cake has candles. If you look at the cake in a slightly different way, you can see that 1/3 has candles. So 2/6 is equal to 1/3. Did you eat the candles too? There are 12 eggs, but 4 of them are cracked. 4/12 of the eggs are cracked. If you group the eggs differently, you can see that 1 out of 3 equal groups are cracked. 1/3 is cracked. So 4/12 is equal to 1/3. You're trying to glue the eggs back together? Okay. Equivalent fractions can show the same amount using different numerators and denominators. It can be a little confusing, but you can draw pictures or build models to help you understand. Not that kind of model.
Okay, so let's go ahead and open Seesaw together. Let's go to our math task. And that way everybody can find slide number 2 so we can take some notes on what we just heard in our brain pop. On Seesaw, you need to click Activities, Assigned to Class folder, blue for math. In your blue math folder, you will find our task for today. Our task for today is called Equivalent Fractions Exploration. Go ahead and open that up with me, please. And we will begin taking some notes on slide number 2, where you see the brain pop video. Click on slide number 2. Okay, let's go ahead and think about some of the things that we heard in the video about equivalent fractions. Sentence number 1 says, equivalent fractions are blank to the same amount, but use blank numbers. So what we heard in the video is that equivalent fractions are equal to the same amount, right? Thinking about our symbol for equal, but use blank numbers. They use different numbers. So some examples that we saw in the video were equivalent to 1/2. 1/2 is equal to 3/1/6 or 3/6. Equivalent fractions are equal to the same amount, but use different numbers. Let's type that into our sentence together. We're going to use the type tool first. Equivalent fractions are equal Equivalent fractions are equal to the same amount, but use different numbers. Let's use our type tool again, and we'll type our word different. Go ahead and check that you have equal and different typed into number 1. All right, let's go to number 2. From the Brain Pop video, we heard some important information. Number 2 says you can draw blank to help you see how fractions are blank. So let's think about what we heard in our video. You can draw blank to help you see how fractions are blank. I heard Moby talk about how we can draw models to show how fractions are equivalent. So let's get our type tool ready. And we're going to type in, you can draw models to help you see how fractions are, we're going to use that vocabulary word, equivalent. When I hear equivalent, I hear the word equal. The root word is equal because it means equal. Go ahead and check that you have typed models and equivalent into the blank spaces in sentence number 2. Great job on taking notes. Let's go ahead and move to slide number 3. On slide number 3, we're going to learn about a new tool we can use today to help us build models or draw models. On slide number 3, there are 2 links. On the left, this is a video that will teach you how to use this tool. You may watch that video on your own time today. On the right is where we're going to click today. This is our fraction bar tool, and let's take a look at it together in our lesson. When we click on the link, it will open up a new tab, and it's called Fraction Bar Tool. Today, you're going to use this tool to show your model, to show how fractions can be equal. We always start by using the 1 whole. We drag it into the white rectangle. And then on the right, you will see all of your unit fractions: 1/2, 1/3, 1/4, 1/5, 1/6, all the way up to some larger denominators like 12. So today we're going to use this tool to show our model. That means you need to go between your Seesaw tab and your Fraction tool tab back and forth. Today you also will be expected to take a picture of your model and put it on Seesaw. That is something we have been practicing that you should be able to do today. Let's go to slide number 4 to learn more about how fractions can be equal but use different numbers. On slide number 4, there is a teaching video. I'm going to play the video. Students are looking and listening and thinking about the example. How can fractions be equal but use different numbers? Let's take a look at this one. I see that we are comparing 2 1/6 and 5 1/8. So far, we've been using symbols like greater than or less than to describe the comparison of these two fractions. Today, we are really going to focus on that third symbol, the equal sign. These two fractions are not equal. 2/6 is much smaller. It takes up much less space than 5 1/8. So we all know the equal symbol, but there are some other important words that will help us as we identify fractions that are equal in size. Today, we're going to use the words equivalent or not equivalent. When comparing 2/6 and 5/8, I can identify that these two fractions are not equivalent because 2/6 is less than 5/8. Here's another example. In this task, we are comparing 3 1/4 and 6 1/8. When I look at these two models, I notice that they line up perfectly at the edge. They take up the same amount of area compared to the one whole. 3/4 and 6/8 are equivalent, and we can represent it using the equal symbol. Let's do one more. Here I see 2 1/6 compared to 1/3. Are these two fractions equal? You guessed it, we would use the equal symbol to identify the relationship in the comparison, and the vocabulary we would use is equivalent. 2/6 is equivalent to 1/3. Great job focusing your attention. Let's go ahead and move to slide number 5. Slide number 5 is going to teach us more about how to build a model. We just saw the task where you can recognize and identify if fractions are equivalent or not equivalent. But this video is going to show us how to create a model just like you're going to be doing today. I'm going to play the video. Students are focusing with their eyes, ears, and their brain, looking at this teaching example. How can we use our tool today to prove our knowledge? One of our learning targets today is to generate or create simple equivalent fractions or fractions that are equal. Our task tells us to create a fraction equal to 1/2 using 6. Show a picture of your model. Here's some important information in our text. We are going to create a fraction that is equal to 1/2 using 6. That means I'm going to be using the unit parts 1/6 in my model. Next, I need to show a picture of my model to justify my answer. We're going to use our fraction tool today, and we're going to start by using one whole. I know that the text told me to create a fraction equal to 1/2. So next, I'm going to find my 1/2 part and move it to my model. Create a fraction equal to 1/2 using sixths. Okay, and I remember that that means I'm going to use my 1/6 unit fraction parts. So on the right, I'm going to look for 1/6. And I'm going to explore. First, I'm going to check to see if 1/6 is equal to 1/2. I can tell by my model that they are not equivalent. So I'm going to take another 1/6 and move it to my model. Then I'm going to check to see if 2/1/6 is equivalent or equal to 1/2. I see that they are not equivalent yet because 1/2 takes up more area. There's more shaded space. So I'm going to take another 1/6 part. Okay. I have now identified that 1/2 is equivalent to 1, 2, 3, 1/6. We record that as 3/1/6 or 3/6. Next, I'm going to take a picture of my model. And I'm going to prove my work by putting it on my seesaw task. I have now shown a picture of my model. My last step is to fill in the comparison with the knowledge I gained. I compared 1/2 to 3/6. I learned that they are equivalent fractions because they take up the same amount of space, but they're using different numbers. This is your job today. You are going to read the task, create a model, upload your picture of your model, and record your comparison using your equal symbol. All right, so we have just seen a second teaching example from slide number 5. Please join me and click on slide number 8. Let's go ahead and skip number 7 and go to slide number 8. We're going to do this one together to practice using our fraction tool and putting a picture on Seesaw to show our model. Let's do it together. Create a fraction equal to 3/1/4 using eighths. Show a picture of your model. So first, I want to pay special attention to what information the text tells me. Create a fraction equal to 3/1/4 using eighths. When we see a word in word form, it's helpful to write the unit fraction. Eighths is the same thing as 1/8 parts. Then we're going to show a picture of our model. Okay, I have clicked on the link, and remember, it will open a new tab. You can begin by clicking the one hole, just like me. And then let's go back to our task to see what our job is. Create a fraction equal to 3/1/4. Okay, I need to start there. So using my model, I have one hole, Now I need to look for 3 1/4. On the right, I notice I only have unit fractions. That means I need to build 3 1/4. So here is 1/4, 2 1/4, 3 1/4. Right now, you should have your fraction tool open. You should be creating 3 1/4 just like I have. Go ahead and check that you have this in your model. Okay, after we create 3 1/4, let's go back to see what the rest of our job is. Create a fraction equal to 3 1/4 using eighths. Okay, this is where my job is. I need to use 1/8 unit fractions, and I'm going to build a model that's equal to 3 1/4. On the right, I'm going to look for 1/8. Got it right here. And I'm going to explore to see how many 1/8 will be equal to 3 1/4. So far, I've moved 2 1/8. Let's see about 3 1/8. Not equal yet. Keep adding to your model. Not equal yet. Keep going. I see I'm getting closer. Aha! I have now shown equivalent fractions because they line up the same area. The same amount of space is shaded. Okay, I know that I showed 3 1/4. So now my job is to figure out how many 1/8 did I use to show an equal or equivalent fraction. I'm going to count my 1/8 parts. I want you to do the same. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I showed 6 1/8. Check that your model shows an equivalent fraction to 3/4 using 1/8. After you build your model, you need to take a picture of your model. We have practiced this together. And you're going to upload it to your Seesaw page, just like I'm doing now. And now I have shown my work. I have shown a picture of my model. My last job is to record my comparison that I showed. 3 1/4 is equivalent to 6 1/8. I have now done slide number 8. This is what you're going to work on today. Let's talk about your independent task. You may skip number 9. If you want to do number 9, you may. On slide number 10 is where your independent work begins. For each slide, you are going to create a fraction, read your information carefully, to know which unit fraction you need to be using. Then you're going to take a picture of your model and put it on your Seesaw page, just like we practiced together. And then you're going to fill in your comparison statement using your equal symbol. You need to finish all of the slides. 16 is your last problem to try. And then on slide number 17 is a reflection. Today we practiced recognizing simple equivalent fractions, and mostly you practiced making a simple fraction model that shows equivalent fractions. Tell me today, were you successful with today's skill? Or were you not yet successful? Don't forget to fill in your why. How did you know that today you were successful or not yet? That is your independent work for today. When you are finished, you will turn in your work with the green check. Remember, this is our last Zoom of the day. I will not be on Zoom this afternoon. I have teacher meetings. So it is now time for you to save your work. It's time for lunch and recess. And the rest of your day, you can finish your math work or finish any reading work that you have left to do. If you have extra time today, work on your Lexia units and be ready for tomorrow when we are earning up to 6 units. Okay, it's time for us to go. I will see you later.
Bye,
Good
Miss
luck on your work.
Have a nice day.
You too. Have a nice day.